This time on Fifth Gear, Jimmy and Vicky head to the hills for a diesel versus electric off-road dogfight.
Hit it, go on. Oh, it's all coming at full well.
Karun takes a blast in the Cupra Bourne.
I'm gonna have a play.
Is this the world's first electric hot hatch?
The handling on this thing is brilliant.
And I take the team out for a spin in the ID3, the car that Volkswagen are pinning their future on.
If this doesn't sell, everyone's getting sacked.
This is Fifth Gear.
What with the difference?
They'll still be screaming and squealing. Could you just slow down?
And shouting.
Stupid idea. I can't listen to this nonsense.
But there'll also be this.
The EV revolution is here.
But are electric vehicles right for you?
What are the costs, choices, and challenges?
And how do they stack up against their petrol-powered rivals?
We're here to tell you everything you need to know about the new automotive landscape.
This is the future of driving.
This is Fifth Gear Recharged.
This is the Land Rover Defender. Not the very latest one, but the model that has tackled the world's toughest terrain, largely unaltered for nearly 70 years. It's estimated that 70% of the 2 million Land Rovers made are still on the roads today. And this 2011 version is mine.
Jimmy's car is no stranger to Fifth Gear, because not so long ago we pitched it against a rival from Suzuki and it won. Although quite why Mr. DeVille had to undress for the occasion, I'm not entirely sure.
So maybe his car needs to be put up against a tougher challenge. Maybe it needs to go up against another Defender.
This one, to be precise.
Jimmy, remind me, your car is a diesel, yeah?
It is indeed,
And
yes.
how much power have you got?
It has 122 of the finest ponies.
Would you like to know how many mine has got?
Not at all, but I've got this feeling you're going to tell me.
I am 450.
That's a low blow. I also expect you're going to tell me that's electric.
Indeed I am, Jimmy, because underneath here is a super fast charger. Oh, yeah. And it will do 200 miles between fill-ups. But I think that might be a bit tested today.
This 1996 Defender has been converted to electric by Welsh company Electric Classic Cars. It's done a subtle custom job on the exterior.
But that is nothing compared to what has gone on under here. Look, no oily bits, no noisy bits. What
That
do you
is
think?
clean, isn't it?
Clean and, dare I say it, mean. I don't think I've ever seen an engine that's got the word danger written on it.
Just a little note to point that this isn't an engine.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for pointing it out for me,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Thanks a lot.
If you're wondering what 450 horsepower in a Land Rover Defender actually feels like, allow me to demonstrate.
That is ridiculous!
3.8 seconds to 60.
In a Land Rover. You just punched my heart out of my back. But Defenders weren't made for drag racing. They earned their keep off-road. So we're going to see if the electric Defender has retained the all-terrain talents of the diesel by putting them through 3 grueling tests, starting with a hill climb.
Jimmy's going first. Once he's finished toying with the array of knobs and levers that are the gateway to his Defender's mechanical four-wheel drive system.
In your own time?
I fiddle with my sticks. I'm in gear.
Hear these sticks, they're so quaint.
They are quaint. But listen, they allow me to know exactly how this vehicle is set up.
Usually forward helps.
I'm in high range. I've got my diff locked.
Why high range?
I think we need to carry a little bit of momentum because it's pretty steep up there. Also, I've got the diff lock because I need power to go to both axles. Guarantee I get as much traction as possible. But this is going to take some going, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I'm going to punch this.
Well, you've got a 2.4-litre diesel engine.
I have.
And how much torque?
359 of Newton's finest meters.
But because you've got a combustion engine, you haven't got that torque throughout the rev range.
I haven't, no.
No, you are peaking somewhere.
Well, I think you're going to find my peak right up here. Shall we do this?
Oh, go on then.
Hold tight. Here we go.
Oh, you are not wrong about going off quickly.
We're going to go on this one.
I'm beginning to hyperventilate now, Jimmy. How's she feeling?
She's good, she's good.
Oh, it's
She's
noisy.
punching. Bit rocky here, bit rocky.
I'm leaning forward, hoping for momentum. We did it.
Nice, that was good.
She was a trooper. Jimmy's diesel Defender handled the hill climb admirably, but let's not forget, what goes up must come down.
Do you prefer going up or down?
Up.
Yeah, I do. What's nice now, I'm going to put it into low range.
Why do you have to do this at the precipice?
I've
Why
got to-
couldn't you have changed your ratio back
But this-
there? That, to me, is madness.
I'm creeping down the hill without using my brakes, thanks to good old-fashioned engine braking. This uses the compression of the engine and friction within the gearbox to prevent the Defender gathering speed on this steep descent. No, I'm barely doing it. I'm barely doing it anywhere. Look, my feet are off. I've got no feet on. I'm off the pedals.
I'm happy now.
This is engine braking at its finest. Look at my feet. Not doing anything.
Very good.
There we go. That was nice, wasn't it?
That was really well done, girl. Well done. That was
It was
smoother than I
smooth.
thought it was
Yeah.
going to be, actually.
Time for the electric Defender to climb the hill.
So, you know you were harping on about your torque.
Yeah, 359 pure Newton meters.
Would you like to know what I've got? 675, which is almost double what you've got.
You are kidding, that is insane.
I know, it is, isn't it? I've also got a 100 kilowatt hour battery and a motor from the Tesla Model S.
That's what's making that horrible whining noise, isn't it?
No, that's you. And also, my torque is all mine from zero, from the off.
But I'm just worried that all that linear power is just going to be way, way too much. And as soon as you spin the wheels, there's going to be a rooster tail of stones. You'll be going nowhere, and I will win this challenge.
Well, shall we find out?
I think we're about to, aren't we? How's the knuckles? Shall I hold on here? Ooh. So, will Vicky tame all 450 horses on this steep, slippery hill? Or will physics kick in and send her wheels spinning?
You're
doing really well.
Smoother than your one.
Yeah. Too much power isn't always good. When you're doing some complex off-roading, when you've got to stay in control,
Yeah.
it's about keeping that traction, and you just lost it.
Oh, all right, Dad. Time to head back down. Unlike Jimmy's Defender, I don't have a traditional gearbox and diesel engine to slow my descent. Instead, my car is equipped with an electronic descent control system.
It's going to roll forwards until that system kicks in, and that's when you've got to hold your nerve. You could go straight into it, all the way off. There you are, it's got it, it's got it. Stay off it now. Feet are off. Turn onto that. Oh, it is working nicely.
Oh my gosh, my
Bit right, go a bit right, go a bit right, go a bit right. That's it, you got it. You got it, you got it.
Oh, where's it so far?
I don't know, let's have some break now, let's have some break.
It appears that on this occasion, the high-tech descent control system wasn't working as intended.
It ran away, what was that? I thought that was going to have descent control. Was it definitely an off-road mode?
Yeah, it was.
It's just kind of picked up, though.
We
We just pick up the minute. I'm going to say this. The old girl, that engine braking, steady all the way down. I mean, I was completely off and it did not accelerate.
Yeah.
This did run away on 2 occasions, going up and coming down. So, after that hair-raising descent in Vicky's EV, my diesel grabs an early lead in our off-road challenge.
But there's still plenty to play for. Join us later when we find out which machine is the better swimmer.
Oh, it's all coming in the footwell! Oh, look!
Coming up, Grace heads to a revolutionary new filling station to meet the pioneer who wants to bring EV charging to the masses.
That's enough energy to go all the way around the world every day.
And the team get hands-on with Volkswagen's new ID3.
You've got to use touch-sensitive buttons to adjust the volume.
I would like a big knob, something I can twist.
Now it's time to get a first look and a first drive of a brand new EV. Yes, it's the fifth gear recharged team test. Today, the team tested the Volkswagen ID3. The ID3 has been designed specifically as an electric-only model. Prices start at 27 grand once you've deducted the £2,500 government grant, which puts it up against cars like the Nissan Leaf. But the car the ID3 is going to be inevitably compared to is the other five-door hatchback with a VW badge on the front, the legendary Volkswagen Golf. They no longer make an electric Golf, which means that the ID3 has some very big boots to fill. Boys and girls, the 3 in ID3 signifies it's the third major launch from Volkswagen. So the first one was the Beetle, the second was the Golf, and the third is the ID3.
So this is what they're pinning their future on.
If this doesn't sell, everyone's getting sacked.
Do you know what? I quite like the look of it.
Just a fairly safe and solid design, I think.
Well, they've come under a bit of criticism, haven't they? It's a bit steady, it's a bit same, it's a bit kind of...
It's almost like it was like designed specifically not to offend anyone.
I can still see Golf in there.
It's not quite as long and not quite as wide, but a little bit taller. The clever thing is, you get the space of a Passat in the size of a Golf.
Because its front axle and its rear axle are further apart, it kind of lets you believe that it's a longer car, but it's not. This, right, is a bit of a design feature. It tricks your eye into thinking that it looks like the bonnet is quite short, which makes it look a bit sportier, but this is just to help pedestrian safety.
You bang your head on it, bang,
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, that black bit on the bonnet, which Rory head-butted, obviously works, because Rory's still alive. Power? What's it got?
So this one, it's got 200 horsepower, 0 to 62 in 7.3. This is one thing I don't like about this car. It's got steel wheels.
A little bit confused by the steel wheels on a £30,000 car.
You know, if you're going to put them on, make a show of them, paint them white or pink.
Steel wheels. I mean, that's a spec error.
Do we look inside?
Yep. Hop in.
There we go, my lady.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Loads of legroom back here. I like this.
Wow, that's
Honestly,
really good. Yeah.
are you comfy there?
Yeah, I'm totally, I've got too much room. But it wasn't all good news in the cabin.
Ooh,
I
can hear that.
really thought that we had gone away from scratchy plastics.
One of the areas where the ID3 is let down massively is with the quality of the interior materials.
I wouldn't even trim my dog bed in that cloth that was around the seats.
And the center screen was also a disappointment because it relies totally on touch-sensitive buttons.
I would like a big knob, quite frankly, I can twist.
And also, they're not backlit, so at night when you're driving, you can't see anything at all. It's really annoying. Time for a drive. Golfs have always been excellent on the move, offering refinement, top-notch handling, and plenty of get up and go. So, would the ID3 tick the same boxes? Accelerating down the straights with all my co-hosts on board, even though they were screaming a bit.
Oh, my God.
We actually had to tell him to slow down a bit.
This is how you drive with your family?
He wasn't driving it very well, if I might say. Is he behind me, by any chance?
Should we talk about the refinement in this car?
I think it is more refined than a Golf.
100%.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
I find all electric cars are more refined
Yes.
than the petrol version.
Yeah.
So the vibration,
Stuff
they
out.
take away the vibration.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially
Great ride quality at the back, I have to say. We've gone over some bumps there, and it's actually quite comfy.
Yeah, the ride, the handling, it's great. It's a, you know, it's a nice little car, actually.
Unfortunately, one of us wanted more than just a nice little car.
There were no elements of springiness and surprise and extra bits of agility. It felt more sort of stable and secure and mature.
On to range. Officially, this car can go 263 miles between charges. So what will we manage it? Well, almost 100 miles less. The way we're driving right now, we're getting that range from the battery.
174-mile range.
Yeah, with 4 people up. I think the range in that car is absolutely fine for most human beings. For a family who don't go that far and get to recharge at home,
Yeah.
you could argue it's not that bad.
Oh.
What about the power? 200 horsepower.
Oh, God.
So, my driving aside, what would we score the ID3?
On the whole, car performance was good, ride quality was good. I think the range could be better, and the inside trim wasn't that impressive, so I'm going to give it a 7.
I really like the look of the ID3. I'm a big Golf fan, so I can see what VW is trying to do, but I'm not a big fan of the interior. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
The ID3 is a very good car on the whole, but it's slightly flawed, and on that basis, I'm going to give it a solid 7.
I like it. I'm going to give it a 7.
Which gives the ID3 a very respectable team test score of 27.5 out of 40. With sales of electric cars almost doubling in 2020, Grace Webb wants to find out how the charging and power companies are going to meet this rapidly growing demand.
It's estimated that in the UK, almost half of households don't have access to home charging. While 7,000 new charging points were installed in 2020, most of them were added to existing charging hubs like supermarket car parks and motorway services. But in Essex, a new concept has just been created by EV charging company GridServe. And it's called the electric forecourt. Starting from scratch, they've reimagined the traditional filling station and created what could become the first of a new generation of EV charging hubs. GridServe's founder, Toddington Harper, has cars in his blood. After all, he was named after the services between junctions 11 and 12 on the M1. So, Toddington, tell me about a GridServe electric forecourt then. How is it different to a normal petrol forecourt?
The main difference is that it's specifically designed around the need of electric vehicle drivers. It's also particularly built for the 50% or so of people who just can't easily charge at home.
There are 36 chargers at the forecourt. 12 of them support ultra-rapid 350 kilowatt charging.
So what it means is that in an hour, you could put 350 kilowatt hours of energy in. To put that kind of into something which is a bit easier to comprehend, in 5 minutes, you could put 100 miles of charge in. These chargers here will allow you to charge as fast as the vehicle will possibly allow you. We typically find at the moment that people are taking me 20, 30 minutes, but in the future, we think that that will probably come down to between 10 and 20.
But as 10 minutes is still twice as long as it takes to fill up a regular car, the electric forecourt allows drivers to use that time positively. There are shops, restaurants and business facilities. It's even got a post office. And the innovation doesn't stop there.
Above us is a solar canopy. The solar panels here provide kind of a dual function. Firstly, these protect people from the elements, but the other function is that, just from using, this amount of solar panels, we can produce enough energy to drive roughly 800,000 miles, we think, every year in electric vehicles.
That's enough to fuel over 100 cars for an entire year. The electric forecourt sources its power from the national grid. But if all 36 chargers were being used simultaneously, then there simply wouldn't be enough power on tap. So, instead, the chargers are powered from here.
These containers here are full of batteries. There's enough batteries here to be able to store enough energy to drive 24,000 miles in an electric vehicle. That's enough energy to go all the way around the world, basically every day. We can provide as much power that's required. Even if there are issues on the grid, we can store enough energy to fill up every single electric vehicle that each of the 36 chargers would require.
Looking forward, it's Toddington's aim to build 100 electric forecourts at key locations throughout the UK.
We're absolutely sure that this type of site will be needed. In fact, many more sites like this will be needed across the UK. Probably 50% of people who can't charge at home. Those that can certainly can't charge in 20 minutes.
The electric forecourt could make EVs a viable option for those who don't have off-street parking, and their only option for home charging is to trail a cable across a public footpath. So we've seen what can be done with public charging when you start with a blank sheet of paper. But other concerns many would-be electric vehicle owners have are just how green is that electricity? And what will happen when we double or triple the amount of electric cars on the road that need charging? Will the infrastructure cope without needing to build lots more dirty power stations? Toddington's solar-powered canopy is a start, but it's not enough to power the hundreds of cars that will use the electric forecourt every day. But this is. GridServe offsets all the electricity used to charge cars by creating renewable energy sources like this massive solar farm. But as the EV revolution continues to gain momentum, the nation's demand for power will soar. However, for the first time in the UK's history, electricity generated from renewable sources has overtaken electricity generated from coal and gas. So the future is looking bright for tomorrow's EV drivers.
Coming up, Karun's in Spain to see if the Cupra Bourne truly is the first electric hot hatch.
It does turn in quite nicely.
And our diesel versus electric off-road challenge continues.
Jimmy! Jimmy!
As Jimmy and Vicky plunge their defenders into deep water.
Oh, it's all coming in the front well!
Welcome back to our off-road dogfight, where we're putting the iconic Land Rover Defender up against another Defender. However, my version happens to be fully electric.
The diesel is my very own car, and so far, she's in the lead, proving to be a bit more controllable up and down this steep hill, compared to Vicky's runaway EV.
Why is it so hard?
I don't know, let's have some break now, let's have some break.
It ran away! What was that?
Now we turn our attention to water, because there is a lot of it in the UK, and sometimes going through it, or wading, is quicker than going around.
How deep do you reckon that is?
Got to be honest, I've got absolutely no idea. But that's already proved itself to be a proper wader. Officially, it's 50 centimetres, but that's already done way, way deeper.
Yeah, but that was when you were in a concrete-bottomed wading pool. That might have half a metre of water and then half a metre of sludge underneath.
Well, that's exactly what I'd like to draw your attention to what we're wearing, waders.
These fine bits of fashion.
These fine garments. So don't worry, you'll be fine.
No. After you.
Shall we together?
Oh, go on then.
So have you ever done wading before?
This might look strange, but we don't want to get our cars stuck, and taking the plunge is the best way to find out exactly what's lurking in the murky water.
Goes high in the middle.
Yeah, that's very
So
high here.
I'm in a big hole right here.
Our delightful dip has revealed that this pool is around 90 centimetres deep. That's almost double Land Rover's recommended wading depth. If I was in an average 4x4, I wouldn't risk it. But my Defender is far from average.
Should we leave it at your gentleman parts?
Anyway, back to the job in hand.
What's going on here then?
Just
More faffage.
You call it faffage, I call it getting organised. Does that feel like... Yeah, there we go, look.
What are you in, high or low?
I'm in high range and my diff locked. I don't want to speed, but I just want to be able to push through with a bit of... Okay. I don't want to hang about, let's put it that way. Are you ready?
Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy! That's deep down here.
That got deep in there, didn't it? But I'll tell you what, we are through and looking good.
Good boy.
That was
Good
all right,
girl.
wasn't it? Yeah. Now for the EV. I'm packing my water wings for this one because those heavy batteries are going to weigh the electric Defender down and it could easily get stuck in the boggy water.
But what you don't know, Jimmy, is that this car weighs more or less the same as yours at 1,900 kilograms.
I'm thinking that in no way is this a good idea. Electricity and water don't mix.
Look, OK, everything here is sealed. The battery, the motor, the wiring, all sealed.
So you're saying this could wade as well as my Defender?
I'm going to say that this can wade far, far better. You might as well call it a submarine.
Wow. I mean, I suppose you're correct. My vehicle has a combustion engine. That needs air to work. This doesn't. It doesn't need any air. The only thing in this that needs air is me and you.
Yeah, that's true.
Snorkel kit on, shall we?
Do let's.
So what's your approach? Go on, hit it. Hit it. Go on, then.
When in doubt.
I mean, this can get wet, can't it? Oh, it's all coming in the front well! into a ship.
Oh, and it's a smelly one at that.
Woo! That was impressive, though.
Despite the leaky door seals, my EV has to be the water challenge winner because, unlike Jimmy's diesel that needs air to breathe, the EV can, in theory, be totally submersed.
You know how to hit a water feature, don't you?
Thank you. And that makes it 1-1 in our off-road challenge. Join us later for the decider with the ultimate off-road test as we tackle this incredibly tough rock-strewn ascent. It's when I start breathing like I'm going to give birth, that's it. Which I'm beginning to do.
You're not...
We love hot hatches on fifth gear. Something that's practical, affordable, and with proper performance that can put a huge grin on your face. The only problem is, at the moment, no one has made an electric hot hatch yet. Oh, someone has. I've come to southern Spain to feast my eyes on this, the Cupra Bourne, the world's first EV hot hatch, so they say. Cupra used to be the performance wing of Seat, but now they exist as a standalone manufacturer. There are a few versions of the Bourne with different sized battery packs, but you know what I'm interested in.
The most powerful one.
It's got a 58 kilowatt battery pack which produces 231 horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of 6.6 seconds. And the price? A shade under 40 grand, about the same as a VW Golf R.
Cupra say that if you treat it nicely, you can get 260 miles out of this battery. I'll be honest, I'm not really interested in testing the range today. I'm gonna have a play.
And as I value my driving license, today's playground is the Castiglione circuit near Barcelona. To see whether the Bourne is worthy of a hot hatch status, I'm going to compare it to its petrol-powered brother, a hot hatch with a proven track record, the formidable Cupra Leon.
This is the 4th generation of the Leon. And to be honest, we've always been a fan of them on 5th gear. There's plenty of grunt here.
I'll set a benchmark lap time around the circuit and we'll see how the electric-powered new boy compares against the petrol-powered establishment.
The brakes are very good. The car does stop superbly well. Quite a stiff suspension. You can feel it hopping around on the curbs and the bumps. But it does turn in quite nicely. The drivability is very good. They've clearly done some great work in terms of just getting the power delivery from that turbo engine to be smooth and progressive. You don't feel any lag. Down the 2nd gear, pick out the power. Oh, no. Bit too much understeer.
The Leon crosses the line in a respectable 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Petrol hot hatch benchmark set, time for the electric Bourne. Unlike the front-wheel drive Leon, the all-electric Bourne is rear-wheel drive and beautifully balanced.
It's got the benefit of having the batteries along the bottom, like most EVs, and that, of course, lowers the center of gravity and offers a fantastic 50-50 weight distribution, which is a big step forward when compared to the Leon.
But throwing it around on track like this did flag up an issue.
Despite the fact that it is cool that they're made from recycled suede, are these seats, because I am literally falling out either onto the center console or I'm propping myself up against the door. So I could do with a bit more hugging from these seats, I'll be perfectly honest.
Time for a fast lap. Let's see if the EV hot hatch can give its petrol sibling a bloody nose.
The handling on this thing is brilliant. It does feel like it could deal with about twice the amount of power. Accelerating. Come on. Come on. Come on! Comfortably flat through the quick corner. Right, down the back straight. It does have very good ride quality. It's quite bumpy into this braking zone here, but actually the ride quality under braking is very good. It doesn't seem to be bouncing offline. And I can just turn it into the apex, pick up the power, nice and easy. Into the final hairpin. Come on, come on, come on. Go, 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 up the line.
And the Bourne crosses the line in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Yes, that's a whopping 13 seconds slower than the Leon. But for a first attempt at an EV hot hatch, all is not lost.
It looks great, and it was actually a lot of fun to drive. It handles superbly, and I think with a bit more power and maybe a bit of a weight reduction, it would be superb.
The Bourne's beautifully balanced electric powertrain is bursting with potential. But if you're after pure hot hatch performance, then for now, petrol is still the way to go.
Coming up, I visit the company who believe they can tempt White Van Man away from his beloved Ford Transit. This should give me a good impression of what it's like on the move. And it's the final and toughest challenge of Vicky and Jimmy's off-road adventure.
One of these rocks could force that wheel up and I could be in a world of pain.
Every day, millions of packages are delivered to homes and offices in vans. There are more than 4.5 million light commercial vehicles on UK streets. The Ford Transit van is actually the biggest selling vehicle in the country this year, overtaking both the Vauxhall Corsa and the Ford Fiesta. With construction booming and e-commerce soaring, the race is on to find a cleaner and more efficient way of getting stuff from the warehouse to our front door. Which brings me here. Arrival is a British-American electric vehicle startup that's generating serious buzz in the industry. A US stock market float in early 2021 valued the company at a staggering $13 billion. And that's despite the fact they don't have a single car on the road. So what's the big deal? I've come to their R&D facility in Banbury to find out. Several different electric vehicles are being developed, including a bus and a car specifically for Uber Technologies. But it's this van that's likely to be the first to be mass-produced. Arrival say their prices will be comparable to their diesel-powered counterparts. That means you can expect to see them starting from around £24,000. So how are Arrival planning to take on the establishment? Well, rather than using a vast facility with a traditional production line, they plan to use a series of micro-factories starting in the United States and also here in the UK. Robotics are at the heart of the micro-factory concept. The main man at Arrival is Napo Montano, robot expert and veteran of the European Mars Rover project. Napo, your production philosophy seems to be very different. Tell me a little bit about that.
In a conventional manufacturing system, everything is based around the concept of the conveyor belt. So the vehicle goes through all the stations. Here we glue, here we screw, here we put the glasses on, etc. Now, this makes the system monolithic and large. So the microfactory revolutionizes this approach. So we don't have the conveyor belt anymore, but we have cells. You see one here. So a cluster of robotic arms completely driven by our own software. These robots assemble the vehicles, and there are many inside a microfactory. And then you have mobile robotics, those blocks that move materials around in the factory. So what this means is that we can reduce the footprint of our factory, and instead of having just a few in strategic places around the planet, we're going to have hundreds of them using local logistic systems and infrastructure, hiring locally, so a much more sustainable model for our planet.
Unlike the one-job, one-machine model used in large car factories, these robots are versatile multitaskers. In fact, you could build an entire van in just one of these tennis court-sized cells. Add more cells, and you can build more vehicles. Let's take a look around the Arrival van then. You can see the shape is quite different to a traditional transit van, for example. And that's mostly down to the fact that they haven't had to design the vehicle around the internal combustion engine. So one thing they've done is to move the passenger compartment as far forward as possible in order to maximize the amount of space they have at the rear. Inside, I can stand up tall, there's loads of space in here. Instead of a solid bulkhead, you actually have a sliding door which gives you nice, easy access to the rear of the cabin, which is where all the magic happens. The rear is incredibly spacious. Now, it's 14 cubic meters, which is 1 cubic meter more than a diesel Ford Transit. The bodywork on the van is made from thermoplastics rather than steel, which has a couple of advantages. Firstly, it's lighter, and secondly, it's also very resistant to scratches and dents, apparently. Yep, confirmed. As well as needing fewer repairs, the panels can have color embedded into the composite as they're made, so no need for an expensive and time-consuming paint shop. Okay, time to go for a spin in a prototype arrival van to see what it's like out on the road. Well, not the road, it's a prototype, which means I've got to drive it around their car park, but this should give me a good impression of what it's like on the move. First things first, it's very, very easy. All you do is you put it in drive, put your foot down, and then off it goes. But it's all very smooth. You indicate on the left. Well, it is a prototype. Little help? Has anyone got a laptop? One quick reset later. Oh no, we're off. Literally everything in this vehicle is controlled by this central touchscreen. Everything from the volume to the lights, both exterior and interior. At the moment, this might be a little bit too complex for my liking. One more thing which is very important in this type of vehicle is that the turning circle has to be tight. That's pretty good, actually. Because it doesn't have the internal combustion engine at the front, the wheels can articulate loads, and that's actually better than a lot of cars. There are several different battery options, the biggest of which is a 133 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which will provide a range of around 211 miles. It's worth mentioning that Ford are launching the e-Transit and are promising similar range from its much smaller 68 kilowatt-hour battery. So Arrival are gonna have their work cut out. So, in summary then, it's easy to drive. The range with the bigger battery option is probably sufficient, and I am looking forward to seeing what the final version of this looks like. Arrival are attracting global interest. In fact, a major US courier company have already ordered 10,000 vans. And Korean automaker Hyundai Kia have invested $100 million and will be a strategic partner. So, our Arrival here for the long haul? Well, the timing does seem right, and they do have the backing of some pretty serious players. Will they be able to take on the Transit? I guess only time will tell.
And now it's the finale of our diesel v electric Defender challenge.
I want to see if the 450 horsepower electric Defender has got what it takes to challenge Jimmy's diesel where it counts, off-road.
We've already seen both 4x4s make mincemeat of the hill climb, but the diesel was more sure-footed on the descent.
Well done, girl, well done. Both Defenders survived their plunge into the boggy pond, but we agreed that the EV's ability to completely submerge, should you so desire, gave it the edge in our wading challenge.
So it's 1-1 with everything to play for. Our last challenge is a super technical scramble up a rock-strewn mountainside.
It's the sort of arduous terrain that could leave even the most nimble of off-roaders high and dry. Good ground clearance is vital to avoid snagging precious bodywork on jagged rocks.
Come on then, what's your ground clearance?
I have 215 millimetres.
I also have 215.
You are compromised by those silly side steps which you've clearly put on because you can't reach up to the
Little
cabin.
little legs, what can I say?
You also have an extra appendage on the rear, don't you?
You are an eagle eye for detail, VBH. Yes, I do have a bit of a tow bar, so I'm going to have slightly less, but this is going to be really, really close.
Once again, I'd be going first, and as before, it's not a race, just a case of getting to the end.
Once Jimmy has finished playing with his gear knobs, of course.
Yep, that's it. You ready?
Happy now?
I am perfectly happy, yes. Shall we?
Do let's.
Oh, yeah, there we go. The key to navigating this course in my Defender is to ensure I've selected the right gear ratio and differential setting.
So what are you in, super low?
I'm in low range, but my diff isn't locked because this is still quite nice hard ground. I don't think I'm going to start slipping.
Okay, what's your worst case scenario though?
Something like this where it's really stony, I'm worried about getting put in a seesaw position. That's essentially when one of my front wheels gets forced up in the air and then the opposite rear wheel gets forced up in the air. Now the problem is with my fixed axles, the power's going to go to the place of least resistance, and if one of my wheels is in the air, that's where it's going to go. I'm going to have not drive.
Yeah, we're going nowhere.
Thankfully, the Defender has brilliant articulation, which means that its suspension has enough travel to keep all of the wheels firmly on the track, even when the terrain is as demanding as this. Right, this is going to get naughty. We've got a little river up here, so this is exactly where I could get in a seesaw.
Yeah.
So one of these rocks could force that wheel up, and I could be in a world of pain. I've got to hope that I keep... Ooh, a little bit of slip.
When I start, like, you know, breathing like I'm going to give birth, that's what I'm beginning to do.
You're not...
Oh, nice work, Jimmy.
I've got to say, that was a masterclass, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, a little bit of slippage, but Jimmy's diesel did pretty well. Now it's my turn.
So I have got a limited slip diff at the front and one at the rear.
And that's different from my open diffs in my Land Rover, which will essentially send my power willy-nilly.
As the name implies, limited slip differentials automatically limit the power sent to wheels that are spinning and divert the rest of it to those that still have grip.
I tell you what, you can tell because the traction on this vehicle is incredible.
And I haven't screamed or squealed or felt scared.
This is solid as a rock.
Yeah.
So, thanks to my embarrassing excesses of torque and frightfully clever limited slip differentials, the electric Defender soared up the mountainside.
So I won the Mountain Goat Challenge.
You did, but I did win that hill climb because my Defender was just so much more controllable.
Yeah, but I also won the Wading Challenge.
So that makes it 2-1 to the EV today.
Yeah, the winner today.
What I really want to talk about, though, is cost, because a Defender of this age would cost you around £25,000.
Mine is a little bit more than that.
Come on.
£90,000.
£90,000?
Plus the donor car.
So you're talking well in excess of £100,000. I mean, that's a serious bit of cash.
Yeah. But it is so cheap to run from that point onwards.
It would need to be.
The electric powered Defender comes at a price, but I have to admit, it proved a worthy challenger to the old guard.
It's faster than the diesel, it can operate underwater, and unlike Jimmy's car with its knobs and levers, the EV was simple to operate. And all of that lovely tech could be coming to a hillside near you, as Land Rover is currently toying with the idea of a hydrogen-fueled electric version of its brand new Defender, which means in 10 years' time, Jimmy DeVille might have one.